Oh, this guy's on here. I feel trapped. I had no idea he was also on here. Why did I agree to this?
You saw in the group chat I was getting on here.
I didn't. Shit.
Not looking.
Well, I'm glad I rushed my phone call that I was on to jump on here with this guy.
Welcome. And
as you can tell, we spend a lot of time on calls together. So
yeah, too much.
Too much.
I was about to say, do you guys not spend enough time together? Is that the problem?
This guy thinks he's like coming to my house for a barbecue every weekend. Weird.
He's always bragging about this hot tub. Apparently, he has I don't know. No one's allowed in.
Yeah,
crazy stuff.
It's a rite of passage to get in the assistant hot tub.
You want to get in the thing at Hep C. Anyway, welcome to Gmsonic. Thank you all for joining us. Today we're joined by Sam Harcourt and the assistant. And again, Gmsonic is your home for all Sonic-related news and activities that are meaningful and important to you. I workshopped that with my marketing expert. Do you think that's a good intro?
It was pretty good, man.
Yeah. I lied. Bullshit. I just made that on the spot. Anyway, how you guys doing? You guys have some bad blood, it seems like. Sam, assistant, what's been going on behind the scenes?
I want him dead.
No, it's been good. I think
literally dead.
Since Vienna, the kind of energy that we have at Sonic's been amazing. Throughout devs of the team, meeting you, Corval, in person was really cool. We're still waiting to see this new Sonic suit, which will be exciting.
Oh yeah,
just like it's that almost like culminated as like a really big event, like bigger than we even expected for us, especially being
Corval on stage.
Yeah. Oh no, I mean just Vienna. Hopefully you can do MCI next one. I mean that was amazing.
Definitely, I'm learning Mandarin for it.
Oh, hey, looking good.
Hey, I actually wrote this question down during the intro because you kind of look like a guy that would have a flight simulator in your house. Do you? I imagine you have like a really crazy nice one.
Me?
Yeah, flight simulator too.
I mean, I used to play Sky Odyssey on PlayStation 2, but that's about it.
What the hell is that? Sky Odyssey. Anyway.
It's like one of those, remember like you used to get like the free games that came with the PlayStation? Like they were like $10 and it was like a demo. That was it.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, we got a real gamer on our hands here. Now, I'm glad things are looking up after the Sonic Summit, energy-wise. Because I was a little worried because the assistants seem to be on the warpath here. One of the things I wanted to talk about was, I got you guys here, is he put out this tweet. It's poor Wintermute, my good friends at Wintermute. You just drop them like a sack of rocks, assistant. What's up with this, dude? What does this mean for me?
It doesn't mean anything. I mean, I think it like
okay. People on the timeline celebrating and like they're lighting fireworks and shit.
Nah, look, I'll be honest. Like I can tell you the dead honest truth is, like a lot of people use Wintermute. A ton, like probably hundreds of people use Wintermute. I don't think there's anything wrong with using Wintermute. I didn't say anything bad about Wintermute. I just said that we're discontinuing our market making arrangement with Wintermute. That being said, we've already been using another market maker for a while. And just to be clear about something, like our agreement, we gave notice to Wintermute, but it hasn't just stopped. Like it's not like Wintermute is actively market making right now. Like it hasn't stopped. So I'm curious to see when people are like, they're going to be so speculative on the price. Like if the price were to move up, they're like, see, the price moved up because Wintermute is no longer market making. Meanwhile, they actually still are. No, but we, like I wrote in the post, like we gave notice and we terminated, but there's another market maker that we're using that's also like really good. And we'll be announcing them, I think some like on Monday or Tuesday, which they're a huge company. So like I said in my tweet, like we're looking for market makers MM++, and like plus means to me is, I actually wrote a reply to this, but I deleted it. I accidentally X'd out of the tab, so I didn't get a chance to post it. Someone was like, what is market making plus plus? Market making plus plus is like 3 or 4 things. 1, providing DeFi liquidity. 2, actively participating in the ecosystem, like sending people to talk to our events, sponsoring our events, keep that kind of that vibe. The next thing is like having a clear line of communication. So like talking to us very frequently, like updating us on the market, sending us reports, and like giving us a kind of overview of like what the state of our token is basically in the market. And then the last thing would be helping projects out on the chain. So like I'm sure you guys saw, like there's Binance Alpha. So Binance Alpha, I think they listed Shadow, Beats, and Anon. So what does that mean? It's like, well, those tokens, if they're going to get listed on exchange, like they're going to need a market maker. And that's a requirement of most exchanges. So it's like, be willing to work with small projects on the chain, kind of under the umbrella of our deal being the larger one, right? So if that means like using some tokens from our token loan to like support the ecosystem, whatever, those are like the 4 things. But some firms do it, some firms don't do it, but we are actively kind of pivoting to work with teams who specifically do this like extra stuff.
And just to add on, like generally some larger market makers, and not like pointing fingers here, don't want to work with sort of the micro projects within an ecosystem, because the way a good market maker works, or like the standard industry, is like they'll have some sort of call option with the project. And with a lot of these smaller projects, it's very hard to figure out what that might be for them. And then, is it worth their time? That they might lose money trading, and the call might not actually end up going through. Then, they've just wasted a lot of time. So it is a risk for market makers to go in really deep within the ecosystem. But we have found partners who strongly believe in the Sonic vision. We've found partners that like want to back projects that are like growing on Sonic, and that's what matters to us. Just finding partners who are willing to back projects in Sonic, even use Sonic. That is actually a good point to segue into like USDC going native. It means that all of our payments to our partners are now all on Sonic. Previously, we had some.
We're trying.
Well, I think there's only like some, like, because generally, we cover the infrastructure for all of the builders on Sonic, right? So that they get access to the likes of Chainlink, they get access to Alchemy, they get access to Pith and all these guys. And the cool thing now with USDC being native is like we don't have to go pay on Ethereum or these other networks. It feels so wrong paying in ETH just to send stables, and now doing it on Sonic's just such a good feeling. And so fast and quick, and it just helps us on the accounting side so much easier. So that's cool. I would say that's been a really big like impact that we've seen with USDC going native. Obviously, as it goes native on more centralized exchanges, I think more and more of our user base will start to feel it as well, because coming in and out of the ecosystem, sometimes they want to come into the ecosystem with stables and buy a native application they like. Maybe they want to deposit or LP on Shadow, or maybe they want to go play a game. And they just need some stables. They don't necessarily want to have to buy S to then get into the ecosystem. So I think once we're going to go live with a few sexes now with the stablecoin, I think there'll be a lot more in the near term coming, because they're all seeing each other list native USDC, and so they're all like willing to do it. And then each sex generally affects a different like part of the user base, right? Like when a certain sex we see like a massive uptick in like a certain region, because they're all very regional specific. But 2 major things that we've seen since the upgrade.
And I gotta say, I saw that Cctp was live, and I actually had to move some stables this morning. So I used Bungee, and I was actually going to Ethereum for something, and it blew my mind. I actually pulled up a couple other bridges that I know are like usually pretty good pricing and everything. And it was crazy to like, I'm talking like gas and everything. It was like a $3 difference.
Yeah.
So that's like so big, when people are actually like moving decent sized portions of stables, and you have slippage and everything else. And, the bridge, getting pricing, and it's just like it made such a big difference to like be able to do that. Because even like I won't drop names because I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but even a bridge that I use often that always has really good pricing, considering I still would have lost probably about $150-$200. So to be able to do that on a Bungee earlier was crazy.
To see more, just to be clear, right now that Cctp is only integrated in 2 places. One being on Bungie, and then the other one is our gateway. So like if you go to the, I haven't went on it honestly to see it, but apparently it says it. I don't see it on my screen, but my team told me it's there. Oh, here you go. Can you go to this link? Can you screen share this?
Yeah, let's see here.
So the assistant's been screenshotting Dracula like those exact setups, like the fees for transferring in and out of Sonic, and he's just showing everyone, and the reactions are amazing. They're like, what?
100 million costs 4 cents, bro.
Insane.
And you know what's crazy? Is that like when you hear like 100 million, who needs to bridge 100 million? Sam and I had conversations with someone about bridging $100 million today.
Yeah,
like,
so
things actually mad. Like it's not like, oh, no one's bridging 100 million. It's like a stupid example. No, it like people are bridging 100 million.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, even even going into 6 figures, you're used to losing a decent amount of money, having to, move back and forth. So yeah, I mean, it's a big deal. And yeah, as you can see here, it is live on the gateway. Which the gateway it might even be cheaper than like what I did on Bungie this morning. So
I don't know actually, because I guess Bungie charges something. So can you do a side by side? I'm curious.
Let's see here.
I didn't even check that.
So it sounds like a lot of things coming together here with this market maker and the USDC upgrade, right? It seems like what you're saying here is we're going to get a lot more support, a lot easier down to like the micro caps here.
Yeah.
Does it remain for the big guys too?
And the other market maker that we're signing with new, like they've actively had money deployed. They've actively had in range liquidity deployed on Sonic for months. So they're active. They're active, is what I'm trying to say.
And they do go hand in hand, because one of the centralized exchanges
you have zero balance.
They hit us up saying like, "Oh yeah, can you transfer like 500K USDC from Sonic? We just want to like provide liquidity." And then within like an hour, they're like, "Oh, we're seeing a little bit of demand here. Can you put 5 million in?" And then by the end of the day, they're like, "Hey, can you just put 50 million USDC in, because this is crazy?" And now that has actually gone up to 100 million.
They asked us for 100. They asked us for 100. I mean, we can share this information because, like, I feel like it's perfectly okay. I don't think it's risk, like, puts anything at risk. But Binance is in the like CCTP V2 is new. Okay, that's new from Circle. So only like the really new chains have CCTP V2. So Binance is in the process of upgrading their like back end cross chain infrastructure to support CCTP V2. Until then, we've been providing, like, the foundation has been providing liquidity as a bridge. So basically what does that mean? How does that work? Is like we'll deposit money into Binance and then withdraw it on the Ethereum side, so that this way people can actively use for deposits. And like we have done 9 figures plus in these bridging from like as a team, and they continue to it's like amazing. They continue to ask us to deposit more, like to make that bridge more. So like they've asked us about, I think 3 times now, to deposit $100 million. That's good. I mean, we've gotten to the point where like we ask our we'll ask a big partner of ours to help with it now, because it's just gotten like kind of annoying for us to facilitate moving funds as a treasury. But like it's gone good. I mean, that means that there's a ton of demand. It means that like they have like USDC on Sonic is becoming like a go-to deposit asset on chain. And I mentioned this before when I was in Dubai. Like I have, was it when I was in Dubai? Yeah, USDC went native when I was in Dubai for 2049 actually. So when I was in Dubai, I was like sending someone money for like, I don't know, I owed them like $200 or whatever. And I was, they were on their Binance, like, "Oh, what can you send?" I was like, "Oh shit, I could send USDC like S on Sonic." And I sent it to him. Literally instantly it was deposited. Like his phone just beeped. The second I pressed sign, it was like, bing, he had received the money.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty like I was pretty happy about that.
Hell yeah, I'm happy hearing about this. So Assistant can pay immediately at any time, any day, any hour of the day is what I'm hearing now.
Yep.
So yeah, I was just gonna show the difference real fast because I finally got it worked out here. But yeah, I mean, basically all you're gonna pay on Bungie, I'm guessing, is just their fee from what they get on it. If you use
They're
the
making basically nothing.
yeah, so and if you use the gateway, yeah, I mean it's just literally going like
I
one
did
for one.
not know
'Cause there's-
that.
Yeah, because there's no fee. So
Damn, we need to put a fee on there, bruh.
yeah, you do. So
You should.
yeah, I mean that's so that's crazy, man. I mean, just
arguably it's like a public good for the network, but
Really? Because that $3 from that 100K, I mean that 3 cents from that 100K adds up. How do you think?
You know what's
Oh,
adding?
how are we gonna afford Corval's suit for Singapore? I mean, like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
that's right. You better start saving. Stash away a few cents at a time. It adds up, man. So
Drug suit. Hell yeah, dude.
But yeah, I mean that's just once again, like I said, it's just like a huge deal to have that in place. And yeah, I mean enjoy insanely cheap swaps or literally like next to nothing. So yeah, pretty impressive. Great thing for the network. And something else we were going to touch on was we saw Galaxy got listed on the NASDAQ today.
Yeah, dope. Congrats to them.
So was wondering, we touched on it lightly on the last episode, but just wondering if you guys wanted to chat about, how that raise went with Galaxy and what it means for the network and all that good stuff.
How does it feel for Sonic to have exposure through the NASDAQ now in an extremely, extremely small way?
That's right.
Kind of cool, right?
I think like when we were all right, let me put this in like the nicest terms possible, which is kind of hard for me to do sometimes, but like
Be with it, dude.
people throw money at us like every single day for OTC deals. Okay, just being honest, and that's not just us. It's like every layer one that has a liquid token, like they're getting message from market makers, from some fund, from some family office, like buy tokens. So getting money is not hard to do as a chain. I think we all can agree, like you see that, right? It's not hard. Everyone does it. However, like picking the right person to give the money to and to do the deal with, like that's what really matters. So as I mentioned, when I was in Vienna, we did a deal with someone that was bad. Like it was just a bad deal. And we backed out of the deal and we gave them the money back. So we kind of learned from that and was like, hey, like the next deal that we do, let's make sure that we are a little bit more aligned. And again, like, I think it's about getting those deals that are like token sale plus. Like, okay, we do the token sale. Technically speaking, if we did a token sale with Galaxy, they don't have any moral obligation to do anything beyond send us the money. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys get that, right? Like that's what it is. Sam, you agree? Like that's what the deal is. Okay, so now what it is number one is like, how are their morals? Like when we're talking to them, like does it seem like they actually care, or does it seem that they're just trying to get tokens at like a discounted rate or whatever it is? Most of the time, they do not give a shit at all. I'd say 95% of the time, like these people don't care. But in this instance, we had a good vibe, met them in person, talked with them a lot on phone calls, actively doing things. They sponsored Vienna, helping us out, helping applications out, like having conversations beyond the deal, right? And then once we did that, it was like, okay, I think like these guys are going the legit route. We had known that they're going to get, they were pursuing like the NASDAQ listing. So I think like we did a lot of vibe research before, talked to a lot of people, because if out of 10 people who inquired about giving us money, Galaxy is one. The other 9, if I mention their name to other people, they're like, they're super extractive, don't do it. But like Galaxy, when you ask people for feedback, like in the industry, they're just like, oh, like Galaxy has like really good team and they're legit and they actually care about like what's going on, and their team is very like available to be hands-on. That's what matters. Getting money, easy. Getting money from someone who actually wants to provide more than just money, difficult.
Yeah.
I see. So yeah, they passed the vibe check. I understand what you're saying here, that when you're approaching these kinds of deals like this, you want something more than just money, right? You don't want just a baby daddy. You want a father, dude. You want someone who can
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Oh man.
So how do you do the vibe check? like what do you guys do? Trust falls? You think
Trust
you-
falls.
No,
See
we
how-
actually, I think like a lot of the deals and a lot of the like hiring that we do is all like vibe check. Like I just did an interview before this to bring someone on the team, and they were like, "Oh, should I like send you like what did he ask me? He's probably listening right now, which is super funny. But he asked me like, "Oh, can I send you like a case study?" And I was like, "Case study of what?" Like it's like it doesn't work that same way with us. I think a lot of it depends on like your knowledge of our ecosystem, the knowledge of the industry in general, what you know specifically about Sonic. Like, are you aligned and trying to achieve the same things as us?
Yeah.
Are you coming from like a good place when you have ideas and they're not like revolving around yourself and they're more like team based, like being a team player? Do you understand the premise of everyone working towards the like a common goal? And I think like it's the same thing. It's like it's almost like we're hiring, right? Like when we're talking to a VC and we're like doing our own due diligence, it's like I don't need to see every project that they've ever invested in. I don't need to see like every employee they've ever had, but it's like what is the overall sentiment from the crypto community and from people that we respect on that person? And it's the same thing that we do when we're hiring. We'll ask other people, do you know this guy, et cetera, and just kind of get a feel for what they're about.
It's also the drive. I mean, we've got a lot of catching up to do launching a new network compared to, say the top 10. The top 10 have like the advantage of being around long enough that one, a lot of sort of infra on-ramp sex support all happened for them very early. And even like this was one of the biggest downsides of our upgrade from Phantom to Sonic was we knew we had to do everything again. All the on-ramps, all the sexes, all the infrastructure. And so you need a lot of drive with the team to be like, hey guys, we're starting this race almost like 3 years behind these other guys who had like a much easier time to get everything around their network. We need to move at probably 10 times at their pace just to keep up with them and then move ahead.
Well, there's a reason why we're like the argument to what you're saying, Sam, is like, why are we behind? And I'll tell you the reason why we're behind is it's so good. Basically, you could like Phantom had been around and was like really successful, right? But the problem that Phantom had was like a really good problem, which is you couldn't scale. It's like the analogy of saying like, let's say you have a really popular like burger shop and like it's so popular, but like you can't keep like you don't have a refrigerator big enough to keep all the Krabby Patties. So like you can't scale. Like there's a line around the block, but like how are you going to flip all those burgers? At a certain point, like you just can't grow, and like you need to be like, okay, let's kind of get a new location with a bigger refrigerator, and then we could start shipping. That's what we did with Sonic. Okay, there was too much demand, so like it was a good problem to have. But now that the problem's addressed, it's kind of like we didn't want to waste too much resources. Like, why would we do an airdrop on Phantom when like we didn't have like it wasn't ready to showcase like what we'd been working on? So now that we have enough fridge space for the Krabby Patties, we can do the buy one get one. You know what I'm saying?
10 billion Krabby Patties.
10 billion.
On the
You're giving Krabby Patties, and then you get a drink on the side. We're airdropping beverages, basically.
Yeah,
well,
man.
Americans are never going to beat the fucking burger allegations. We only understand the world through burgers, but that was a very illustrative analogy, I think.
A US analogy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No, I think that's fantastic. That is a good example of us. A good problem to have. I laughed a little bit when you said we had a good problem. That is a good problem to have. People want you too much. Now, another problem that we had that is resolved, I suppose, now, Kong tweeted about the Multichain resolution. Got this here.
Yeah.
This is kind of awesome, right?
Yeah. Look at the court order. I think it's in Korean or something, right? Or no, it's in English. Sorry, that one's in English.
Just to touch on this, a few points on it. This doesn't mean that like there's still a lot to find out from this point. But basically, what he's putting together here is that the Multichain team just ran away from this problem, and sort of left the mess there. If they didn't run away and they worked, with the liquidator, we could have got up to this process over a year ago. Well, it would have happened so much faster. But because we were forced to sort of go the legal route, we had to basically sue the entity in Singapore, and basically waste our time, a lot of legal expense from our side. It was a very slow process because they just didn't respond and they all just didn't want to help the situation which they created.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate. Mike's just basically saying now we're at a point where somebody can be appointed, the liquidator name there, who can then go out and salvage some of the assets. Now
I think it's KPMG, like it's a huge multinational company, right? Yeah, it's huge.
It's a big company, and I'm sure they'll do a thorough job. But it's just, we don't know exactly the outcome of this situation. It's not like everyone's going to get 100 cents on the dollar. We just don't know what the outcome will be. But this is just signaling to people, because I know like I get like a message about this probably once a month. And someone's like, "Oh, what's going on? What's happening?" And my constant response is like, "Look,
just once a month
process."
Wow.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I agree with what you're saying. It's like, it doesn't mean that like, refunds are going out tomorrow, but you know what I think it is. I think what's positive about it or bullish about it is just that at this point we're looking at what 2.5 years ago when this happened, somewhere around there, and Fantom as an entity, Sonic, whatever, they've never given up on this fight. A lot of people just would have said, hey, it'll blow over in a few weeks, and then we can move on or whatever.
A lot of people wouldn't have spent the money for the legal.
No way. Yeah, like, absolutely.
I don't know the exact number, but I would assume like we've spent I can confidently say that we've spent millions of dollars like litigating this on behalf of the people of Sonic. Like if we wanted to just be an asshole, we would be like, well, we're not going to pursue this, and then it would have been left up to the community to like come with a class action and then like get funded attorneys. But I think what's important to look at from this post is that to understand what is the process, how does the process work, and sometimes best way to understand things is like reverse engineering. If all of the USDC is frozen, okay, like I think specifically if you talk about USDC or whatever assets, I'll just use USDC as an example, okay? If you look at however much USDC is frozen, it's like, well, how do you get it back? It's like, well, most likely it needs to be reissued. How do you get it reissued? Well, there's like all of these procedures that you need to go to. It's getting a court case and getting a liquidator and like following all of those steps to get to that point. So, I mean, it takes a long time to get there. So the moral of this post is is that we're making significant progress. And it sucks to say like an update is that there is no update, but like, I know the only update people care about is that like, hey, I'm getting my money back or whatever. But it takes a while, and the fact that like Mike and Andre and the rest of the team like that predate myself have been actively working on it is like pretty cool to see.
Yeah. It's got to be a nightmare working with the court. It's got to be even more of a nightmare to work with the Singapore.
Bro.
Dude, they speak Chinese, dude.
They do.
What to do? It's a headache.
Well, here's something else. Speaking of things that have taken a long time, it seems that I've seen this about 5 or 6 times in the chat already.
I'm scared. Oh god.
Big news. The Shards claim has gone live.
Well, one thing, actually, all courts in Singapore, they're all comfortable in English.
Yeah, you're racist.
Yeah, it's actually not
racist, dude.
Like the proceedings.
Every single person I met in Singapore, FYI, spoke English.
I'm honestly not surprised.
Well, Corval, you're going to come to Singapore because you're going to host the next summit, right?
And you have to host it in Mandarin, so get ready.
You better start the Duolingo. No, we should have never told him that they speak English, and he's practicing for like 4 months on Duolingo to speak Mandarin, and then he shows up and no one speaks Mandarin at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would still speak English, so I'd still win, dude, because they'd be way impressed, bro. Come on, dude. Maybe this crazy ass white boy speaking Mandarin perfectly flawlessly. That's crazy.
The Shards, you're able to claim an NFT. Everyone's wondering what's the alpha. Are you ready to drop any alpha on that yet, or is it still?
Someone came up to me in Vienna asking about Shard. I thought I was gonna get shanked. I thought that was it. I swear, someone came up to me and they started the conversation off with, no conversation can ever go well when the person comes up to you and says, hey, are you blank?
Oh yeah. Always say no.
I was like, well, I didn't. I was off. I wasn't on my toes. I had eaten like 5 schnitzels the day before I was out of it. Yeah. And the guy was like, hey, are you the assistant? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, bro, where's the Shards, bro? What's going on with the Shards, dude? You've been talking about these Shards for months, man. Where's the Shards at? And I was like,
So you made it happen.
for the safety and security of my team and my life, we did.
Yeah.
It's been shipped.
You could lose everything. You could lose your hot tub. Imagine that.
Dude, I thought I was gonna get shanked. Like I thought it was over.
So yeah. The shards, you can claim if you have all the shards, you can claim one of these NFTs. It was a Celic Freud.
Oh, I met them, by the way. FYI, I met them. Those guys are super cool. Super cool.
Oh yeah.
They're real ones. Shout out to Celic and Clockworky.
Did you get your did you get him to sign some of the art for you?
I didn't. I was too busy.
Your
You did? You had time?
Yeah, dude. They were right by the green room.
Oh yeah. Well, they were in between the green room and the bathroom, so you're probably running to the bathroom every 5 minutes.
Well, exactly. Yeah, it's exactly what's happening. I had to spill my guts, so it's just on the way.
It was all the schnitzel and all the the sausages. Jeez.
Dude, that's speak for yourself.
Yeah, I saw a lot of photos of schnitzel.
Wait,
Like, everyone
Corval,
was
you
just
didn't eat
taking
any
photos.
schnitzel?
I had some schnitzel, but not enough.
Yeah, you didn't.
I
You
saw a
didn't hit
schnitzel that was the size of a dinner of a. I was gonna say a dinner plate, but it was like a pizza, dude. It was literally this big.
Yeah, like everyone was posting these
What?
photos where they're like these giant, massive, like.
I will say,
Yeah.
I will comment about the schnitzel and say one thing. It looks really like filling, but it doesn't really get you that full because it's so thin.
Yeah, they flattened the hell out of it.
Yeah, it's like super thin. So like, I was with one of my buddies and he ate like a whole one, and he was like, "Can I?" Can I? And he's a normal sized guy. Like, I'm not normal, and he's like, "Should you guys think I should order another one?" I was like, "Bro, power to you if you're gonna pound down 2 schnitzels in one sitting, but like you're also only here for a limited amount of time, so schnitzel up." And he
Yeah.
sure did. He ate 2 of them.
Well, I guess we got the shard claim, but also just kind of thinking about this off the top of my head. I mean, we're now like hitting towards like the end of May. We're like we're past mid-May now, so it looks like season 1's about to wrap up here. So the other day you did make an announcement that there was like kind of like some extra things for points with protocols and stuff with season 2. So I mean that basically confirmed, luckily that confirms their
We
season
gotta release
2.
that. We actually got a video. We got to release that. Johan couldn't make it, but he made like some really funny like AI voiceover. Like I think it's like a 2-minute video just explaining it.
Yeah.
Let me see. Wait, I think I have it. Can I just send it to you and just play it?
Yeah.
Hold
But
on.
I know everybody's excited to see how season 1's gonna wrap up here. And we're almost there. Is there a date in June, or is it just kind of like
No, I don't like. We're not giving an exact date on this.
Yeah.
Stuff.
just like early, mid,
Giving a date is like the worst thing ever.
I got the video. I got the gems video ready. Do we want to check it out?
Run it.
Introducing Revenue Score. In Season 1, a lot of the gem distribution was skewed toward total value lock, which helped bootstrap liquidity, but didn't always reward the most sustainable applications. So in Season 2, there's a new variable being introduced, Revenue Score, which balances both TVL and how much value the application is actually generating.
I think that revenue score, I think it's a good idea, honestly.
I mean, the point is that a lot of apps have TVL but don't make any money for like have revenue stream. So
yeah, no, I think that's a really good idea, and it adds a little, maybe even like a little competitiveness, for getting those gems for your users and all that stuff. So I think it's like a good little like gamified addition to the whole thing.
yeah, I mean, Johan's owning this thing, bro. Johan is fucking locked in.
We've seen it too many times, like these airdrop plays. They come in, the money comes in, mercenary capital or locusts, you can call them. They just leave as soon as the rewards go. But this way, it's really like rewarding people who want to trade, want to promote like assets that will make money long term, want to kind of be on Sonic and interact with the applications. So that's like season 1 was all about, say, like accumulation and some of the vanity metrics to sort of get us to where we need to be like a decent leading chain on at least the TVL side, the capital side, as well as some assets that needed to be whitelisted for the ecosystem as a whole. But now season 2, it's all about sticky liquidity and like putting in the places like the steps now so that like in the next season when it ends, you don't see a massive withdrawal of assets like we've just seen with like Rico. So I think like the fact that we're thinking about it now shows like how we work on these things. A lot of other networks, again, not going to name too many names, but you sort of just have these incredible just like drops of TVL and everything because they're just like prioritizing vanity metrics. Okay, you pulled it up. I don't think you pulled them out, but you want to call them out?
Whoops. Sorry.
We were looking at volts, so it's not like the idea of volts is.
Oh damn! You went straight to the screen share. Oh,
it's brutal.
Right. Cutting cam.
We did explore that. We did explore that route a little bit as well. So I can understand their thought process for that, which is like, they wanted the launch to be massive, and in respect, they did do that. The initial launch of Bearchain was huge, and like the hype and the amount of times I saw it on X, I think they did really well for that. It's just that second motion of.
Well, the app revenue is exactly what you're talking about. Like, can you just toggle off TVL? Oh no, sorry, toggle on TVL and toggle on app revenue.
Let's see, where is it?
Right there, middle. Yeah, bro. You see the back? Can you do a? Can you
barely see that purple and the black there?
Can you bring up the Sonic one? I'm just curious. But generally speaking, that the reason why you're seeing that is because all of the assets that they have whitelisted. Again, we're not talking shit here. Just to clarify, a lot of the assets they had listed were like Bitcoin assets, and those Bitcoin assets aren't really generating like trading volume, so they weren't generating fees for the dexes. So that's why I'm sure like there's a pretty big gap there. But can you show the Sonic one? I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm pulling that up right now.
I might be really wrong, and ours looks exactly the same. But
no, actually, I think it coincides with what you're saying pretty much. You're literally watching the TVL go up with the app revenue.
Can I see the other one more time?
Oh yeah. So you got that one, and then we're gonna go back to Bear.
Yeah, yeah.
So you see, actually, it's a good point. So they started like they were averaging close, or they're getting around the 100K USD a day, and then for us, it's sort of been like a gradual climb up as like they start to find the products they want to trade.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge growth right there in maybe this first week of April. Like, I don't know what happened there. Maybe that's Aave or something. I don't know, but
I wouldn't be surprised if that's Aave or something. But yeah, I mean, you're just seeing the difference in the approach. I think that, I mean, exactly like what Sam was saying earlier. When people have to lock up like large amounts of capital, it just tends to not bode well when, people have had their stuff locked up for 2 or 3 months. And then by the time people were getting their rewards, I was seeing some really crazy numbers, like, people with, well over 6 figs locked up getting like $35 worth of, a token. It's just it's kind of, I don't want to say it's like a vanity metric because it's not totally vanity, but in a way it was kind of like, hey, like look how much TVL we have, but nobody can do anything with it. It's not actually earning everything. And as soon as they could get their money back, they were like, give me my money back. I got to get my money out of here. It's got to earn something.
Well, if you look at that chart, you just brought a good point, right? What that has to do with if you're making deposits, if you're telling people that you're incentivizing them to deposit assets that create a lot of trading volume, it's very different from rewarding the same to assets that do no volume. So like if you look at that chart, and it's like, I guess on average over the past few weeks, like the change been app revenue has been over 100,000 a day. Okay. And that's on 1 billion TVL, let's say on average. Now, can you go back to the other one? Look at that. Their TVL is 3 billion, and it was averaging less than half. They've never touched. They touched 100K only twice.
Yeah. If you look at it here, it's like, I mean,
if this was on scale with our chart, it would look it would be a good comparison. I don't think there's a way to do that, but this is a perfect example of like the TVL is very, very high, but the scale of how this is showing, it looks, it's not, you can't measure the scale of these two charts correlating because they're way off.
Yeah, no, exactly. But yeah, I mean, that's impressive when you think of it that way, that, especially if you are looking at, I mean, look at here, we had well over 200K on some days.
I mean, most of the apps give the money back to the users, right? Like vast majority of them. So like, they're not. It's not like Pump Fund where like all the fees just go to the founders. I mean, up until like a week ago when they did a fee share.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, if you have a chain where like you're actively generating that much fees, the apps are generating that many fees on a daily basis, that money is getting recycled into the ecosystem. Like it's being bootstrapped organically right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
It goes and the final comment I'll make on this, it's because our focus is like any L1, it's just it should be like the boring technology in the background, but it keeps being put up the front because I think the way the raising environment is today. But we're like our big mission is to change that and put applications first. And I think the reason like we're so focused on application revenue is we want to see apps start to like make it up the top 100 on CMC market cap. Like that's what we really like. That's our mission, and the assistant's already been doing I think some really great work, like coordinating VCs, coordinating like direct support for builders on the network to be able to like put the foundation in their projects so that they can like start to climb and get that success for their own application. And that's like the way we're thinking about this chart. Like we don't think like if a chain has a high TVL, therefore there is value. Like we learned that lesson when Fantom had like, I think it was almost like 13 billion TVL, but the market cap ratio was still quite low.
Yeah.
Bro, go look at like the Bitcoin. Go look at Bitcoins and see how much.
It was a good lesson. Like that didn't like have like it didn't make the chain win. What makes the chain win is like having our projects win, and then we lift up with that. So that's the way we view things, and that's how we look at TVL. It's like, okay, we've got $1 billion in TVL today. Would $2 billion change much for the applications building on Sonic? Not dramatically, not for the cost. So like the cost is better being put into them directly and helping them grow, and then they'll bring in TVL naturally, and we'll start to see that to continue to climb.
Bro, Bitcoin Fi has 10 billion TVL and it generates $9,000 a day.
Yeah.
The funny thing about BTC liquidity is like the yield that like even call it like the VC mercenaries who have the BTC, right? The yield you can offer is incredibly low to sort of get the assets across.
Yo, here we go. Hold on.
Like,
hold on.
And
here's the first comment. First comment I just seen. Somebody just said, whoever this new market maker is, they're very aggressive. Dude, hello. I just told you that we didn't stop using them. Like the switch isn't off. We gave notice. Hello.
That's why it was so funny to me, because literally right after you posted that tweet, people were posting stats where it was like Wintermute is eating, dude. They're dumping everything right now. And it's like, I don't think that's how these agreements work, dude. I don't think they could just I don't think when you break the agreement, they just
the market, like the concept of a market maker is a beautiful thing. It's my favorite because when the market's going up, you can blame the market maker, and when the market's going down, you can also blame the market maker. So the market maker is always going to be in that position where they can't win. But I mean, for a foundation or for like a labs, it's beneficial because it's like, hey,
when I was still working in the office, one of the guys, I worked with a couple of guys that were super into crypto. We were not like in a crypto company. We were just doing like tech shit, right? And I remember
you're talking about when you worked at Geek Squad, right?
Yeah, I was working at Geek Squad. No, I was doing serious financial shit, dude. This is why it makes the
call center. Okay, got it.
It's a little bit more intense because the guy I'm talking to, who's like really into Tron, and he's explaining to me like why I should get into Tron. And he's like, when you look into like investing in the real world, they got these market makers, right? And it tells you right in the name what they're doing. They're making the market. They're manipulating the price, dude. They control the price. They're always setting the price.
When was this conversation?
Dude, this was like 2019, 2020.
Bro, you know what? People talk shit about Tron all the time, but can you pull up the all-time price of Tron chart, please?
Well, this wasn't even a knock on Tron. It was more of his.
I know. You just mentioned Tron, so I just want just reactivated my senses here. But I always hear people talk shit about Tron all the time, like, "Oh, Tron's a scam." Like, Justin's son, Tron. You know what, bro? Tron ain't so bad. Pull up that chart.
How would you look at it like this? This is all time. That's all time.
Ain't that bad. Ain't that bad. Just saying.
Yeah. It's really not if you look at it that way.
Dude, this thing is.
My guys that were telling me to get into Tron, actually, now looking at the chart, they're probably doing quite well.
I'm now a Tron Maxi.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, Do you guys have anything else you'd like to touch on today? We're getting short on time here.
My final question would be, what was everyone's favorite announcement or like favorite panel from Vienna?
Well, I don't think we released it, all of the videos, and Dracula wasn't there, so.
And then Corval assistant.
So I didn't get to watch a lot of them from the front, but the ones I did, I actually really did like the Bernard Schultz one because it made me really fucking dumb. But I guess so you're making a great point. It's like the apps that really seal the deal, right? But the apps are limited by the foundation that they're being built on. And what he was showing was like crazy, dude. The numbers he was showing, I couldn't believe them, dude. I think he said, I was talking on the show last time, actually, something like 2 billion transactions a day is what Visa processes. And he's like, we can get probably like 5 billion in 3 months or something.
Probably not in 3 months, but like 10 billion is the roadmap. That's what we're going to get to. Right now, it's around 100, 200 million, depending on like the gas consumption per transaction. But still, like that's more than the whole space does. I was
about to say that's still insane figures. So
the supply side we have is more than the demand in the entire industry. So that's like a great sign. It basically means me and the assistant just need to drive more transactions to the industry as a whole, which is cool. It means that we want this whole industry to grow. It's not just about Sonic, because we just have so much block space. And I hope that once with VM, with this like technology stack, we can flip the space from being focused so much on infra to consumer apps. And the flip is slowly happening.
One of the things I'll touch on before, like my favorite thing real quick, is that I liked. I mean, I'm not shilling either of these things. I just want to talk about them because I think it's important. But there's Sodax, which is like, I guess, that old chain that's like changed to be a Sonic based chain because of fee monetization. So that's really cool to see. And then there's another one. It's called ODX. If you want to go to the website, you take a look at it. But basically, I'm looking forward to seeing more apps like this on Sonic. It's odx.so. It's like seeing apps that are building on Sonic as an infrastructure layer. That really interests me to hear that. So like these guys are building something like a Thor chain, but for EVM using Sonic as execution layer because it's an L1 and like it kind of fits into like all of these things. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna release a thread. I've been writing it for a few days. I'll release it probably tonight or tomorrow, but I'm like highlighting 10 projects that are soon to be ready to TGE on Sonic. ODX is one of them. And there's a few that you guys probably haven't heard of, but like we've been talking to these people for a while. And the good news is like what I can share is that the success of like Anon and Shadow and Beats being on Binance Alpha has like gotten a lot of people's attention. Binance, we're talking to them about listing more projects, not only existing ones, but also like token generation events, IDOs. In addition to Binance, we're also talking with Kraken. We're also talking with OKX, Crypto.com for these similar like TGE kind of things to support the Sonic ecosystem. There seems to be a lot of demand. Another thing that I'll close up because I have another call I need to get on, but we are like actively looking to grow the team. So like, as I mentioned before, we hired someone who's managing APAC, who's Lisa. I think we should have Lisa on here one day. She's based in Singapore.
Yeah, sure.
The times will be hard, but might be able to swing it if you do like one of those 11 a.m. Eastern type of streams.
You'll have to do it in Mandarin, Corval.
Yeah, it'll be good practice. Good practice for it.
Do a practice.
Have you guys practiced any Mandarin? The tones are so hard, dude.
Bro, I'm not meant to speak any other language but the one I can barely speak.
It's like the word is ni hao, but if I say it like that, they'll look at me like I'm retarded because
ni hao. So Lisa, she wasn't able to be there, but hopefully you guys will see a lot more of her. She's amazing and has really helped our team a lot, like on the centralized exchange side, and just Asian marketing in general. And I tweeted today we're like expanding to Korea, so you'll start to see a lot more Korean stuff. Like Sam and myself have been prioritizing that. A lot of communities been asking about like Upbit. There's a lot of community users who want to trade on Upbit in Korea. Currently we're listed. Yeah. I mean, the tokens on Binance Alpha, they might not even exist. I'm talking about TGEs specifically. The list that I'm putting out is just TGE list. But yeah, and then the next thing is just the institutional side. So like Sam and I don't come from like this super TradFi background. So we'll be adding someone to the team pretty soon to help us with like the institutional side, whether that's managing like RWAs, institutional relationships, and then also like connecting the dots between deal flow of like with VCs. So one of the things I talked about today with someone was like creating an ecosystem newsletter where it just talks about like investment opportunities for more institutional users. So basically like this person will create a group, and that group will have like people from large funds in it, small funds. And then like every like bi-weekly, they'll kind of put out a report about like what's going on Sonic, what are new projects, what are some like impressive stats of the network, blah, blah, blah. And this way, so that we can just like have a more informative relationship with the institutional side. And Sam and I can manage and focus on the things that we know best, which is not the institutional side.
There's just been a lot of interest from the institutional side. I mean, I've had a few calls this morning from that side of the industry. And you even saw in Vienna, the Sonic Strategy guys launching their fund, which is listed in Canada. And they have plans like to route to the US as well. It's just interesting to see that demand. So we just want to make sure we meet the demand that we have from the TradFi side, and obviously the real world assets are just coming into the industry at it's just at an incredible rate. The thing like you have to make sure is like you do it right. I think there's been a few TradFi strategies that are deployed and they don't really embrace what crypto is all about, like the freedom to transact and like leverage your assets for what you want to do. And we are seeing now like some permissioned vaults come through. We are seeing like permissioned strategies. So at least when you bring these real world assets on chain, they can do something other than just like holding them on chain. And it's like a fancy accounting model. So that's like what we need to make sure when we do go big on the TradFi side, it's done right.
Rather and that guy Mitchell that you'll see the videos from, like me and Sam talked to Mitchell from Sonic Strategy. Like Mitchell's been around Fantom for a long time. So it's not like he's just like some opportunistic guy who's like trying to just create this stupid fork of MicroStrategy. It's more like he actually has like bags in Sonic, and he's been really like he knows what's going on in the ecosystem. And his thing is like I just want to, like, he's so bullish. The guy is just genuinely so bullish that he just wants to create a larger position and like really just spin this thing up. So that's why, like in the beginning, when we first approached with it, I was like kind of skeptical. I was like, oh God, someone's trying to do this MicroStrategy thing. Like, come on. But then the more I think about it, I think that if the person is doing it and has a good intent and is doing it like the legit route with like is regulated, has institutional custody of the funds, doing accredited investors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, then like there's no reason for us not to do it. And like we're not co-signing anyone who decides to do any type of institutional thing with the Sonic token. But what we have offered and what Sam and I will do, like, because we're like Sonic evangelists basically, is like we'll get on a phone call and we'll just talk about Sonic. Like we're not going to sell the fund, we're not going to sell anything like that. But if there are questions to be asked about like the tech or anything regarding the Sonic as a whole, like we're always more than willing to touch on it.
Well, yeah, man, that's all exciting stuff. I think we're gonna wrap it up here, but want to say thank you guys so much for coming on. Anytime you want to hop on, just let us know. We'd love to have you. And we will be back on Tuesday.
Oh, my eyes!
We're getting Corval sent us a list of people that he wants on this podcast.
Oh, can we go over the list before we wrap up, please?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, let's save it.
Let's go through the list and let's add the additions that we had on.
Bro, I'll give you guys a hint. Number one was Kim Jong-il.
Our exclusive TG. You got to go into the Gmsonic TG to see the list early.
Bro, are you trying to sell like Hustlers University subscriptions?
I'm trying to grow this dang channel, brother. But here are some names from it. You know, I got
okay, but give two names and then they got to come back next for the rest because they're golden.
Right, so we want to get BitBoy on, and we want to get
Sam
Hyde on. How about that?
Wait, who?
Sam Hyde. We want to get Sam Hyde on.
Oh my God! I thought it was, and also I sneak peek. There was Alex Jones was on that list. He was.
Oh, he's still on the list. We'll get him. Don't worry about that.
Please, he'll do anything for money. That guy now.
If we get Alex Jones on the list, that puts if we can get in contacts with him, that puts us in touch with like 10 other people that we need to get to.
10
Yeah.
other in hat conspiracy theories.
It'll open a lot of
Maybe
doors.
that's your way
It
to
opens the door to Trump directly,
Alex
dude.
Jones. You
All
know?
right, guys, I gotta go. It's been real. It's been nice, but it ain't been real nice. Talk to you later.
All right. Well, everybody have a great weekend. And Sam, thanks again. We really appreciate it.
Thanks,
And
guys.
want to have you back on soon.
Loving the pod.
Thanks, man.
Bye, guys.
Adios, everyone.
Gmsonic is Corval and Dracula Presley. GM.